Good morning, everyone. Hope everybody is okay, feeling well, recognising the totality that you are, which takes in both the good and the bad, the pleasant and the painful, the sickness and the health. All those concepts are recognised for what they are and left as they are. Only this presence awareness, and those terms are not it either. They're just labels we put on. And you all know that the label is not the goods. And all the labels we've learnt are words we've learnt, picked up along the way. And the word's never the thing, as I say, it's not the goods. And as Shakespeare told you a few hundred years ago, nothing either good or bad, but thinking makes it so. And this argument tells you nothing can trouble you except your own imagination. Break that word imagination down to image in. And now I tell you, the way that can be spoken about is not the way. So when we say we're talking about no thing, we're also talking about everything, because there's no division. All the one essence, patterning, shaping and forming, seemingly so, because if you didn't have eyes to see, or ears to hear, or a seeming mind to recognise, how would you know anything about it at all? And it wasn't for that life essence, which we call life essence, which is no thing, that's forming that pattern, shape and form and expressing an experience through it. How could it express pattern, shape or form or experience? So the simple term, thou art that, or this is that, or I am that, that is all there is. And when they say not this, what's this? What's the opposite of this? That. Yes. If you're not this, you must be that. So that's what we need to recognise. The cognising emptiness as such. The great way is not difficult for those who have no preferences. When love and hate are both absent, everything is clear and undisguised. Make the smallest distinction, however, and heaven and earth seen are set infinitely apart. So, and its images, concepts or thoughts are the discriminating it, thinking about it, labelling it. Yeah. That's what needs to be recognised. There's nothing we have to get. All those concepts and ideas we have to see, have to recognise, has to be recognised the way it's functioning. And have a look at this thing you call mind. Yeah. Can you show me anything at all you can call mind? What amongst all the pattern shapes and forms that appear in this We've got to use terms to express it, but the terms or the words are not it. Call it awareness. Everything, every so-called thing appears in awareness, and awareness is no thing. But you can't negate it. You can't say, I am unaware. And you couldn't say, you can say, well, it cuts out all the concepts anyway. And that's what they tell us, it's non-conceptual, ever fresh, presence awareness, without putting any of the labels on it. That's ever fresh, fresh and new, spontaneous. It's this actual seeming moment that the knowing is there. The wearing or the suchness or the isness is here, right now. And is there any other place but here and now? You can't be away from it. Always and ever is. We've taken on the idea we are this person, this separate entity, and this individual. And it needs to be seen for yourself, because nobody can ever do it for you, because there is nobody. And there is no there is no one other than that. And so you can only already and ever be that, always and ever. So when you put the concept of time on it, you'll say, I don't remember. I can only go back so far. And to try and put a tag on the beginning of this manifestation and give it some duration, some time. But can you label a beginning to it? Just the same as can you label a beginning to yourself? Ask yourself, when did I begin? Well, you've got to come and what you realise, I reckon you know, I was born. But then, can you remember your birth? Well, you can't. So when you're saying I was born, pointing to something you don't even remember, don't even know anything about. So you can't give it a time, and you're told where the place was. And you can't give it a place either. Because where's that place? It's taken place somewhere seemingly in this manifestation. And the manifestation is the phenomenal manifestation, only appearing to be so. Another word for appearing is seemingly so. It all seems to be. There's a seeming Bob sitting here. Its mouth is opening and closing. Verbiage comes out of it, words, sounds. There's a seeming activity going on inside it, heart beating, blood coursing around the veins, nerves and sinews, muscles contracting and expanding, eyes blinking, brain seemingly functioning, if there is one. But is this thing that's called Bob doing in it? Is the label doing any of it at all? How can it? How can the word that's being expressed be the expresser of the word? Yeah. Or the the expressing happens, the seeing happens, the hearing happens, the tasting, the touch, the ing, see, it's a vibration, a movement of energy. But we put I see, I hear, I taste, I experience. We call the experiencing I experience, I see, it's called that. The I, we believe there's an entity that's separate and apart from the actual seeing itself, that's experience. And of course, as soon as the thought I see comes up, there must be a scene that's seeing something. But the I see has become the subject, and the scene has become the object. So we've divided the seeing. And the seeing is that spontaneous activity, just the same as the thinking, the hearing, the tasting, touching, smelling. It's all the ing. When we put subject-object, we're into the dualistic aspects. And the dualistic aspect is the cause of all this manifestation, or is the seeming, how this manifestation expresses into subject-object, into good and bad, pleasant and painful, happy, sad, loving, hating, positive, negative. All dualistic patterning, shaping and forming. But it's all, which we're told in the ancient texts and scriptures, it's one essence. And we do use a metaphor, or the description is saying it's all a one-ended stick, not two. Every stick has two ends to it, if you've got a stick. Every coin has two sides to it, but it's still the one coin. North and south have two ends, seeming ends, the north and the south, two poles, where they meet at the equator. And they're still the one, they're not separate at all. They're not divided at the equator. Just changes from one end to the other. So we're looking at the one essence. Or we're not looking, there's no one to look, but the seeing of the one essence, experiencing and expressing is everything. And so you can only be that one essence. And all the seeming division appears on that oneness. Watch your thoughts, see how they vibrate. Good, bad, pleasant, painful, happy, sad, loving, hating. And we want the good, we don't want the bad. We want the loving, we don't want the hating. We want the present, we don't want the painful. It's no wonder they come about, because of the one. The one stick. That stick hasn't divided at all. It's still the one essence. So it's going to be there. It's going to happen, these things. But why invest any energy into them? Into one against the other? Why seemingly divide, which causes the problem? Leave everything as it is and see, as we said, seeing, hearing, tasting, touching, smelling, thinking this, that and the other. It's dividing spontaneously into one and the other all the time, seeming one and the other all the time. So there's darkness and light. All darkness is the absence of light. The sun's facing away. The earth's facing away from the sun. So it's dark. When it faces around the other way, it's light. All that light is the absence of darkness. So they're not two things. One's seemingly obscured, and the other manner expresses, and that takes its turn. So when the good's there, the bad's seemingly obscured. It's lost sight of. When the bad's there, the good's seemingly no longer there. But we focus into one or the other. We have preferences, partiality. Dividing it, and going back to the Green Sing Ming. What is it?
Which one?
The great way is not equal to...
For those who hold no preferences.
If we hold no preferences. If If you don't hold preferences, it's not difficult at all. It doesn't say you won't have preferences, but don't cling. Don't cling to them. Don't fixate. Unfixated awareness. Let it be as it is.
Yes.
What is means unaltered, unmodified, uncorrected, suchness. Just such as it is. So it's not a matter of acquiring anything or becoming anything or getting anything or going anywhere. It's a matter of recognising it and relating into it. Any questions?
You want the questions already?
If you like, I can
Okay. Yeah.
see what it is.
Mm.
I've rambled on enough. If I can, what
No,
more I can
You
put it.
didn't ramble long, but hopefully we can make you ramble more. Good morning, everyone, and good day for
No.
others. Yeah, there were questions. There was a question. Gosh, this one is showing me again only couple of quotes. There was a question from God Potter about, when you say hold no preferences, who is to not hold preferences?
Yeah.
Who is it that
Yeah.
is to not hold preferences? Yeah.
Yeah, so they can't be held, but with the belief that we're holding them,
Mm-hmm.
that's the belief we take on and see that the belief's never the thing either.
Yeah.
Look at your definition of belief: an unquestioned acceptance of something in the absence of reason, acceptance of an alleged fact without positive knowledge or proof. And
Yeah, who has no attachments to preferences? No attachments. Who has no attachments? So, yeah,
who wants to know?
that's a good answer. Ultimately, who you are in truth is a space like emptiness. It has no attachments, it has no preferences. On top of that space like emptiness or sky like awareness, the ideas come. First idea is the me. There is a separate me here. And that me possesses opinions or preferences. But those are all just bundle of thoughts. That is just an appearance. Who you truly are is the basic space for all of that to happen. So who is holding no preference? Your true nature, the space like awareness.
And that's why they say, hold no preference. Who? You need to ask that question yourself. Who's holding the preference? Do I have a preference for anything? Is it the me that's holding? Is there a me that's holding it, or is there an I?
And if the preferences come, see them for what they are, just a pattern of preference. Like every creature in nature have the patterns of preferences. Otherwise, the squirrel wouldn't know what to eat, or bird. There is any attachment, Amarnath says, any attachment of activity or inactivity, both are same as preference and non-preference. How subtle and serene non-investigation is the cause of ignorance. Beautifully said.
And ignorance, all ignorance is not we dull or stupid. We are ignoring our true nature. The fact that all these things are disturbing the true nature of, or not disturbing, it can't be disturbed, but are upsetting when we believe from one to the other.
Yes.
Stop ignoring the true nature. You are that one. And only that.
John David says, I love the one-on-one talks with Bob. You can't escape this lion, no matter how hard you try. Put up a fight or surrender. Either way, he has you. How can something come from nothing? That's Bob, a Zen-like koan. This is beautiful. You're a lion. You've got, yes, he actually is so brilliant in spotting and picking up and highlighting with the beautiful smile and serenity and warmth to it. It's not like, some people believe that ego needs to be humiliated and broken down. That's a cult-like behavior. There is no ego to be humiliated. The joy, the love, the warmth in the guidance. That's Bob. That's our lion.
Just a label.
Just a label, of course. It's His grace that Bob is present everywhere in everything. He is not a person, but one essence. Amarnath. That's exactly right. And you are that.
It's Amana is that also.
Yes.
And I think she recognises it.
Yeah, he knows that, yes. And Tanya, how do you see that you are not the body once and for all? The idea of being identified with the body is still appearing.
Yeah. Still
Idea.
it will appear as so. The sea still appears as blue. But do you know it's blue, or have you pulled a bucket of water out of it and had a look?
Yeah.
You see it's not blue. So investigate and see, are you the body? What's the body made up of? Is it solid? Is it substantial? Body's made up of elements: air, earth, fire, water and space. Separate yourself from the elements if you can. Now it'll still appear to be so.
Yes.
But without the air in it, the water, the fire, the space, the seeming matter, the solid, the earth, it can be all broken down into energy, subatomic particles. So you recognise this. And where's the static point in that body? Where's the say, this is where I begin, this is what I am? You might say it's in the heart, it's in the head, it's in the guts, it's in that, what's the name?
Solar plexus.
Solar plexus, yeah, or anywhere at all. But where are you looking at it from? If you think it's in there and you think there's something static there, look at that. See where you're looking at it from. Or you say you're looking at the eye, but have a look where you're looking at the eye from. How you know? You can't find a static point anywhere. So you see, and put it under a microscope. Do all these things to it if necessary to see how solid the body is and the mind. Now show me your mind. Is there such a thing as mind? I can't find a thing called mind apart from concepts. Thoughts, sounds, and concepts are thoughts or words. Words are sounds. Sounds are vibration. A vibration is just a movement of energy. Somewhat of a movement, a span or a throb or a pulsation. You can't say it has any beginning or any end, but it continues to expand and vibrate. Now it's expanding and expressing as this body, as the tree, as the flower, as the sun, as the stars, as everything that has appeared as this manifestation. And all the so-called manifestation is things which we put labels on and discriminate them. Earth, water, fire, sun, all the rest of it. They're all labels we put on it all. So it's all things appearing in the basic essence, no thing. The basic screen, silence, stillness, emptiness. So that's no thing. Not a vacuum or a void, as we say when we say nothing. We take it away. It's no thing. It has no shape, it has no form, it's just that basic space, if you like to use that term, which is not it anyway. So can something come from no thing? It can't. So you and I and everything else in this manifestation is really no thing. Means it hasn't got any independent nature. It's just another vibrating pattern in the no thingness, in the emptiness, seeming vibration and seeming forming, just like a wave will appear on the ocean, or a ripple, or a leaf will move on the tree as the wind blows. You can feel the wind, but you can't grasp it. You can't say it's there. And it's only, So you can't separate yourself. That's the most important thing to recognise. There is no separation. But if it didn't pattern, shape and form things, how could we even question this or look into it? How could that no thing understand or know or express itself? What can you say about that awareness? It's just a label. All you can do is you say, I am not unaware. But you say you can't negate it. But what it is, you can't say. It's another label we put on things. And then we break it down in the next level into consciousness. And then we break that consciousness out into concepts, into thoughts, feelings and emotions. It's all broken, always broken down to something else, more and more. And there's a beginning, seeming beginning, and an end. But it's really eternal. When does now begin? You can't say it begins now. Grab it and try and see. Because it falls out of your grasp immediately. And it's ending. And it's beginning again. So it's spontaneous. Put that term on, but you can't grasp spontaneity.
Yeah, so actually Tanya answered her own question by saying that it is just an idea that is coming.
Yeah.
So idea is coming to of being identified, and as Bob just pointed out, because the body is not separate, because the body is constantly breathing, exchanging air, exchanging water, constantly responding to the environment. Also thinking is responding to environment. So the body is part of the environment. If the idea of identification comes, expand it, include all of it. Like the one way is neti, discard. I'm not the body because I'm seeing my body, so I'm the seer, I'm not the object. I'm not my mind because I'm hearing or whatever, my mind. That's the neti, discarding. And then you're left with nothing because that's what you are. But inclusion, all inclusion, it's how the environment, one thing cannot be removed because the whole world would collapse. Like remove the bees, we already know what will happen. They were predictions, but remove the air or remove the temperature. So all including everything, seeing that there is no separation. And now if the idea of identification comes, well, let it come, so what? That's just an idea. It's it's a sweet little idea. I mean, the idea comes from it's the byproduct of the language, because everything has the label. So naturally the subjectivity wants a label too. So it's a sweet little interplay. It's part of the fun.
Well, that idea, it's some idea of the I.
Yes.
It's all relating to the I. And then I think was it Freud that called it id, the ego? And that's all the I is. I believed in ego. And the idea is all the thoughts and feelings that come into it are relating to this I.
Yeah, now it is bringing me back to the beginning of the talk, but I've seen Agnieszka from Poland. So it's 2:30 in the morning there. She sends greetings and says, "We look lovely in blue." Thank you. And we have Bill, and a worrisome thought, a disturbing emotion, hair growing, digestion happening, all spontaneous. Even attempting to change the situation is spontaneous. Have a good deep look. A good belly laugh is a guarantee. That's it.
Yes. That belly laugh is not forced or made, it wells up.
As spontaneous as everything else.
Spontaneous, the natural joyousness there when the weight or the burden of concepts are lifted from you.
I've got, Julia says here, and she commented on John. I also love his big heart and sense of humor. Yes. And where are we now? Tanya, no static point found and no mind, just thoughts. The body is just an appearance, a pattern of energy, yes. It is seen there. It is seen, there is no separation. Wow, body is not solid. Thank you, Bob and Kat. Yes, so what if the idea appears? That is included also. That's it. And now it is. I've seen a question. Oh yeah, I have a few other questions. Now there is one from a few minutes ago. That's Amarnath. Beautiful cat for revering. First, we have Dreamer, face FBI Dream. And there is Matthew. It is amazing how well you use something to explain nothing. So true. Thank you.
Well, the something is the nothing anyway.
It is. Oh, I got that. That was 16 minutes ago. Question from Amarnath. Dear Bob, can you tell us how much time you took for awareness of awareness? Nisargadatta says it took 3 years.
Well, by the time to get to Nisargadatta, it took me 15 years.
And when you got there, it took no time
No
at all.
time.
It was just like this.
Nisargadatta clarified it all by telling me what I'm trying to point out, that I was not the body, I was not the mind, I was that actual being, awareness, bliss, yeah, Satchitananda. And I saw it, the 15 years to get there, just the same. It took him 3 years, and he hasn't practiced anything at all when he went to his guru. And Nisargadatta says, stay with the I amness. And people think he's talking about stay with that thought and repeat that thought like a mantra. No. But see what the I amness represents. That sense of presence that you are right now. That's translated as a thought. Julia, see that?
Yeah.
Kicked Nisargadatta over.
Well, Nisargadatta is with us. The cat is reminding.
Stay with that I amness, that sense of presence. And that translates through the mind as the thought I am. You're present right now. How would you say it? When you say I am, how would you say that you are? Well, I am.
Yes.
So when he's saying stay with the I amness, he means stay with the sense of presence. And the sense of presence is not the past, nor the future. It is this immediacy right here and now. There's no one there who doesn't know in this immediacy that I am. But without translating it, you don't disappear. If you're not saying I am, you haven't disappeared. Other thoughts might be seemingly obscuring it, but that sense of presence, it's all appearing on that. And that's presence awareness. Another way of putting it. Or, as the Buddhists put it, non-conceptual, ever fresh presence awareness. Ever fresh means it's spontaneous, immediate. Non-conceptual means it's without a thought. And it's presence right now. To describe it, you've got to say it's presence, right here, right now. And it's not unaware. It's not knowing. It's knowing.
Yeah.
Just recognise. That's cognising emptiness. Recognise the emptiness. You're seeing it. Go. Recognise. Continue to be the seeing.
Yes.
Quit dividing it up into the seer and the seen. Quit dividing it up into the experiencer and the experience. Be the experiencing. Be the knowing. Be the thinking.
Yes. Yeah, I got a couple of comments from people who can't log into the meeting. I'm not quite sure why. There's some troubles. So I'm just trying to work it out and perhaps share the link. But there was another one. I mean, I would only just add to this because there is quite often a recurring question. If it took Nisargadatta 3 years, I remember one of the girls was coming here. She's really, really sharp intellect. She's in Mensa and she is so proud of her intellect. She says, Nisargadatta was just an average guy. I'm smarter. It will take me a year. She was coming for a year. so proud and so locked down to her intellect. And of course, after a year, she says, "No, I don't want to feel defeated. I'm not showing up ever again." She didn't. So it isn't really something that is for granted. If you have certain amount of hours, like some people are preaching that certain amount of hours of meditation will get you there, or certain amount of sitting will get you there. Well, there is no you to get anywhere, and there's really nowhere to get.
And there's no time to get it in.
And it's no time, exactly. So that sort of how long was your search? Yes, they kind of relevant in the appearance, but they are also confusing because no search is the same. Bob was going through Christianity, through different paths, so-called paths, devotions and different practices. And we can't say if it took him any closer or if it didn't, because again, once you realize there is no you, there is no one to get anywhere closer or further. And at the same time, in the appearance, every story is a unique and beautiful story, and a story unfolds to make it a beautiful film or movie or book or whatever. And in that story, they are seeming stages or seeming levels or seeming achievements or insights, or there is deepening or there is stabilization. But again, there is so many people who read that Tony Parson was walking through park and they went to the same park and kept walking through because maybe the same thing will happen to them. Or Byron Katie was lying on the floor and cockroach or rat went through her. So they started lying on the floor waiting. That's not, and I know, Amarnath, beyond doubts, that's not your story or your concern. Let's just make it clear. But because it keeps coming up, for people asking how long did it take you, because I want to have expectations that maybe in those years, that it will happen to me also. The fact is, it doesn't happen to me, because the me waiting for something to happen is exactly what veils the experience that is always and ever present. When the me is out of the way, the brilliance of that natural, spontaneous simplicity is undistracted, is clear. When the me comes in the picture, that brilliance is translated into whatever, not good enough or incompleteness, or when the me is trying to embrace the universe and it is kind of tiny little idea, it can't do it, so it feels like a failure, and nobody wants to be a failure. And yeah,
when there's no me and there's no time and there is no thing to get, where does that leave me? As no thing, so I'm already there.
Yeah. And also the way I think everyone appreciates how you're pointing it. Start from the top. Start from the fact that this is it. You are already that. Nothing is not that. Everything's included. Everything is a manifestation of that. As a body, you are that. As a thought, you are that. As the background or basic screen or consciousness in which the body and the thought appears, you are that. There's no way out. You are that. If there is uncertainty of being that, investigate that uncertainty. What is it? Isn't that just a thought? Discard it. And the certainty of presence, of being, is undeniable. Nobody can stop being. It's just there. It's there. It's just that it feels like this is not good enough. I want more. I want pleasure. But the more attention rests back on that awareness of presence and is not getting wasted into seeking for pleasure, because spiritual seeking is also seeking for pleasure. It's just very clear. So if that attention is not wasted anywhere else, is not going anywhere else, the bliss is natural. But because nobody wants to keep the attention still, part of the body is the functioning. And part of the conditioning of functioning is the movement of attention. That movement of attention creates the world. The world can be recognized as the reflection of you, and it can be equally enjoyable. All of it, because what you are is that unbound creative force, creative power. And now you look at yourself as a sky. You look at yourself as a tree, as the other person. That's me also. That's all reflection of you, not like reflection, because you can't know yourself, because you are yourself. You can only see the reflections. That the whole world is a mirror for that reflections, and the whole world can be appreciated and loved for this quality of giving you a glimpse of your eternal, infinite nature, of a shapeshifter also, the vibrational being. Anyway, I'll just read the question and try and resolve that. Judith, my mind is bringing up sad memories. Mother, cats, gone, wrongdoings. Do I just watch the mind?
If you're going to look into the mind, why worry about the dead things? Think about the good things.
Yeah. And also memories from the past, mother gone, cats gone. Why is it sad? Because you love them. Just see that love and be grateful for that love, because there is love in sadness, there is love in everything. Love underlies everything. Even bullying is self-love misguided, but everything is one or the other disguise of that love for the self. And now, God, what if the doership and attachments are there as digestion or breathing? Of course they are. What if the doership or attachment are as natural as digestion or breathing? Everything's natural. Yeah, well, if you see how they came about, you learn words. And because you learn language, you started labeling everything. So you started labeling yourself. When you identify with yourself, you own the actions as yours.
That digestion is going on naturally. Put the wrong food in there too, and it'll be just the same as having crook thoughts.
Yes.
It'll come right out the other end.
That's such a good analogy. Yes, take a negative thought and you're gonna have cortisol running through your body. You're gonna get acidic and you're gonna over time perhaps breed cancer or something. And get the wrong food and you'll get the same result. Yes, they all natural. We sometimes use as a pointer that artificial identification and taking credit is not natural because it doesn't exist anywhere in nature. Other animals, birds, insects or trees, they don't do it. But really there is nothing that is not natural. Everything's natural.
Everything is natural, means nature, doesn't it?
Yes.
As in nature. No doubt the world is functioning as it should.
Yes.
Naturally. Tsunamis, galaxies forming, stars imploding, exploding, volcanoes, tsunamis, droughts, floods.
Yeah. And
viruses.
Bill actually answered to it. Stop breathing. Say sternly and solidly, I will stop breathing. Spontaneity also wins out.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Theodore, I have no question. I'm here to see the old parsley, rosemary and thyme.
No sage.
No sage. Beautiful. Oh my gosh, this is really great. For those who may not be familiar, Bob was once asked if he was a sage. So he said he wasn't a sage, he was parsley, rosemary and thyme. And Rohan, thanks Kat for clarifying the issue of time to realize. If it is something to be gained, it will also be lost. It must be here and now, else it is transient like every other object, concept, idea. Thank you for adding that aspect. It has to be added, it has to be said. Yes, that's exactly right. Nothing that you can gain and is not here now would satisfy you for long, because as it comes, it will go.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. As Bob would say, there is no I stitched in your head, John David. You can't get somewhere you already are, Jane.
Yeah.
That's right.
So,
Dana, the intellect is very seductive indeed, and it has seduced most of humanity and most teachers. Yeah, stories are quite attractive, aren't they? It's still nice to enjoy the stories. I mean, everything is to be appreciated in the appearance. I mean, if not everything, collectively it will be everything, but singular pattern may appreciate love and depreciate hate or whatever. But yeah, stories are quite easy to appreciate, especially when you know they are stories and you don't take them as reality, as solid reality. Then they kind of safe and entertaining rather than binding and creating psychological suffering. Now, Amarnath, oh my God, Bob, thanks a million for revealing my ignorance. Wontedly how we maintained ignorance by 5-star treatment, though is non-existent. We wontedly maintaining which can't be maintained. Beautiful. Beautiful. And one of the more recent from Amarnath, ever grateful to both Kat and Bob for revealing it's beyond time, place or person, present here and now at its fullest measures. Thank you for blessings. Thought itself is duality or conditioning already. That's from Krishnamurti.
yeah.
Thank you. And we have Matthew. Do you find the ego fights the want for present? Do you find the ego fights the want for present?
There's no such thing as an ego.
Yeah.
When you're trying to look through. While the so-called ego there will always be fighting, always be resistance and conflict. Investigate and see what it is. If there's anything real there, substantial, that you can say is an ego, is me. God.
Yeah, the whole identification breeds that wanting to be right, wanting to convert others to agree with me. The belief in me has that inbuilt insecurity and wanting to complete itself, and therefore quarreling, fighting, arguing, and trying to be on top, trying to mean something. But this one can be dispelled by one honest look and see what's there if there is no thought. The me disappears with the thought. The ego disappears with the thought. If the resistance floats up, so that's just resistance. That's not an ego. Yeah, but I know what you mean, Matthew. They are people and teachers that point into everything wanting to be, everything having inbuilt survival instinct, even an idea. And when we look at ideas from this standpoint, when you take an idea of slavery, how throughout the history of humankind that idea tried to preserve itself using humans. The idea of, let's say, Bitcoin, or idea of me, it also seemed to have that survival instinct and wanting to exist, wanting to be. Everything's loving to be because of this. So it may seem as if the ego is real and it fights, but it's just a pattern as everything. But yes, I get where it comes from. Jane, all questions arise from a me, which is duality. The me is a thought in the pairs of opposites. You are before the alleged me. See what that story of me appears upon. That's right. Yes. Blessing buoyant beings, Brett says. Thank you. Why pain and misery ends the dream easily? Nisargadatta Maharaj. Why not pleasures or happy events of life? That's Amarnath. Why pain and misery ends the dream easily? I think it is meant to be a rhetorical question, isn't it? Why not pleasure or happy events of life? Well, it can be. It can be. I mean,
it's all dreamlike.
yes, yeah. It's well. I think what's he alluding to is that suffering usually brings people to investigation and eventually breaking through from the belief in me. And it's not written or said anywhere that joy or bliss can't do the same. It's the consciousness that wakes up. It doesn't need prerequisites. It sometimes spices the story with a little bit of a pain and motivation coming from it, but it doesn't have to be this way. As Nisargadatta says, why not pleasures or happy? Why not? Yeah. So. Amarnath says, thanks for bullying self-love, Kat. One infinite is expressing. It is. Beautiful God, for revering. First, we have dreamed. Oh yeah, this we have been already. That's 27 minutes ago. And oh, that's a newer one. Thanks, Kat, for your are not the nowhere to know something. Both are false imaginations. Yeah, they are. Isn't it a relief to actually see it? The nowhere, being a nowhere that is having something to know, you know, the two in one, that Bob explains so beautifully about the seer and the seen and the thinker and the thought. It's one singular activity, always split in the mind by two, because that's what the mind does. It objectifies. And to have object, it has to have the opposite of the object. So the functioning is always split into subject-object. And only in thought. When the thought stops, functioning survives, it preserves, it's singular. So without the thought, there is no duality. Duality comes from labeling. Trav. What speaks through all mouths is what hears through all ears and see through all eyes. Beautiful. See, what speaks through all mouths is what hears through all ears and see through all eyes. Yeah, that's the singularity.
Every so-called body knows when they start looking for it and investigating. Beautiful stuff comes out.
Beautiful stuff, yes. Dear Bob, oh no, we actually been there, that's 40 minutes ago. Okay, I'll see if I can get something. Yeah, it just mixes it so badly. Can you say more about consciousness waking up, please? Anything can be a pointer, Megan says. And thinker itself is a thought, Papaji. Thanks for this cut resonating. And wow, we've got a lot. I don't know if you guys hear me all right. I'll bring it closer. Yes, so what is happening is the song of liberation. That's Bill. So Bob, would you like to answer? Sally is asking to say more about consciousness waking up. It's not you who is waking up. The me is not waking up.
Consciousness appears on awareness. And it's discriminated by thought.
Yes.
Thought appears in consciousness. And thought's vibration, it discriminates, divides.
Yes.
There it comes good, bad, pleasant, painful, happy, sad, or whatever.
Okay, I'm just posting a link for those who can't log in. No. Not sure if they will see it, but hopefully. Okay, so now we have another one. From John, conscious seeing itself in realization of non-duality. Awareness of itself cannot identify with anything else.
Yeah. Yeah. Just
And
what is without it.
that's right. And we got Jesse. It seemed to take me years to see no thing weird. It was right in front of my face. Now I appear in it, as does all that is.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
It seems to take me years too.
I read the shift when no more question arose. I realized the shift when no more question arose. That was Jane. Waking without waker, Amarnath says.
This cat will ask the next question. Answer the next question.
Yeah, he's got no questions. At all. Yes, I would actually just add one thing about that consciousness waking up, if it really even needs anything adding, because when you realize that waking up is from the me, then you know that the me cannot wake up, because the me is the veil, the me is like a curtain. So when the me gets out of the way, awakening is not even a necessary word anymore, because there is no one there. There is no one there to wake up, so there is no one there to be enlightened or to achieve anything or to gain anything. But the pure awareness of presence is unobscured. It means that there is no clouds on the sky is clear. So there is a clarity, or the consciousness where we can, you said the awareness becomes consciousness. Consciousness is, the awareness aware of its existence.
Yeah.
Yes, so the awareness of being is consciousness. I am is the consciousness. So the consciousness wakes up. Oh my gosh, I am. What I am, who cares? I don't have any shape or form. So I don't really need to know, because there is awareness of presence, but it doesn't belong to anyone. It is just there. It can't be denied, but it doesn't mean it is mine. The me is not there. This is the plain fact. There is an awareness of being. There is a being. The rest is a belief. The belief that this belongs to Kat or Bob, that's a concept. Without the thought, there is being and nothing else. That's the so-called awakening from the me.
And being is not becoming.
That's right.
And it's not wasing.
Mm.
It just is.
Yes.
And always will be is.
Mm. And now let's see if we have What is happening is the song of liberation. That's from Bill. I think we already read that one. No seeker, no seeking, mukti. That's right.
No search.
No search, yeah. Nothing to find. No questioner, says Jane. And no questions. And don't know. Let's see. I'll have to see out there again. Nice, isn't it?
Yep.
So we have a question from Amarnath. Why Nisargadatta Maharaj said this, the moment we start expressing about that, you missed that, you went away. That means all discussions are in conditioning or dynamic manifest consciousness. Why Nisargadatta said this? That movement, the movement we start expressing about.
The moment.
It says movement, but maybe it's moment. I don't know. That you miss that. Ah, I see. Oh, okay, I get the question. The moment you start talking about it, you missed it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Stop talking and thinking, and there's nothing you'll not be able to know.
That's right. Yeah, it's as simple as that. It's a non-conceptual awareness. Trying to put it in concepts is already missing it, because there is no word that could ever grasp it or describe it. It is aimed to point, but yeah, it's not the finger, it's the moon. It's not even the moon, it's the no thing. So it can't be even pointed because it isn't a thing to be pointed at.
So you can never be separate from it or apart from it.
And then again, you only see the reflection in forms. The emptiness reflects itself in forms.
It's appearing and expressing as everything, absolute. Expressing as time in which it appears in, places which it appears to be, thoughts, feelings and emotions, sensations, bodies, minds, everything is that.
Yeah.
It can never express, or it doesn't even express itself, just a pure seeming, patterning, shaping and forming. So realise, even if you think you're lost in it, you never can be, you never will be, or you never have been. And all those years growing up and all the rest of it and all sorts of things, and I believed I was locked in this cocoon. I didn't even realise it was a cocoon of concepts. I believed it was me. I believe in the absence. A belief, again, it's all belief.
Yeah.
And a belief is never the actual, never was, never will. And then when they tell you the false cannot stand up to investigation, put your beliefs or anything to that test and you'll see it's true. When you really look into something, if it's not a fact, you'll look into it enough, you'll see through it. We've taken these facts, or believed in facts, we are the person, we are the separate. When you look into it, it falls apart. So don't take anything for granted. Question, see for yourself.
I like what you said, the cocoon of concepts. I used to think about it as a cage of concepts, because it has the bars. But cocoon is even better because it's just much closer and tighter. If you have the concept of me, oh gosh, that's really tight. That's really kind of, it's hurting.
There was a documentary, I don't know, it was on Facebook or something. Yesterday I watched a grub, a caterpillar forming, coming out of the cocoon, then it started eating all these different things, and as it was eating, we kept filling the skin it was in, and had to move out of that skin into another one of different colours, changing different colours all the time, and then it built itself a cocoon. Was in that for a while, and it came out of that as a beautiful moth.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
Now, do you think that caterpillar was thinking, well, I've got to eat all this vegetation and then form a cocoon or do that? All it was doing was chewing away at everything and eating and crawling on the leaf and clinging onto it. And it didn't say, now I've got to shed this skin. But it just naturally you got out of it. It's amazing intelligence suffuses everything. And you and we are that intelligence, if you like to put any label on it at all. Or you can call it God if you like. But don't get confused with you think there's some
things separate and apart from you, that intelligence is suffusing you. And if it is God, and God is all there is, it's suffusing that pattern and forming it also.
Yes.
So that pattern, this pattern, is nothing but a shape and form of God expressing itself through.
Omnipotence.
Yeah. Omnipotence, omnipresence, omniscience, a total intelligence, total power.
I'll have a look if there is any new.
And there's nothing to get there, to get there. Just drop all the obscurations, which can only be thoughts, concepts or ideas or images. Let it rest in its uncontrived singularity.
Yes.
Without contriving any concepts to put on it, to harness it with. Leave it free, being free, unencumbered. No mortgage on it whatsoever. And every seeming body is already that. Already.
Yes, Adrian says, thank you for spreading light and love. It radiates out. Love you guys.
Who's that?
Love you. That's Adrian.
Adrian.
Yes.
Good. Hi, Adrian.
And there's Jay. Yeah, let's just keep going for the being that resonates. Beautiful. Today was special grace from both of Bob and Kat, though it's infinite and eternal. That was Amarnath. Bill, bottom line, see if you can find an I. Everything gets sorted instantly. That's it. Let you go there, baby. Oh, there you go.
Good to see so many recognising it, getting out of the old habitual habits of poor me.
I got a couple of others. There is God's asking what Ramana Maharshi wanted to say about don't forget to throw both thorns away.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. Thank you for this one.
Well,
Yeah.
you can't, see through a thought, throw what the thought.
Yeah.
When I say, if you say,
Who am I?
who am I,
Yes.
was a thought.
Mm-hmm.
And then you saw who am I was a question. Who was the questioner? Who was the who am I?
Yes.
Throw that away too.
That's right.
Questioner is the question.
That's it. Yeah, so it is really when the who am I is finding the answer, ultimate answer is no answer. The question dissolves. Like you say, who is the questioner? They both gone. Yeah, so kill the Buddha, in other words. It meant don't hold any concepts. Yes, don't hold any concepts. Yes, even who am I is supposed to be just a tool. So when it's done the job, put the tool away. Every concept is just a passing phenomena. It's not real. It's not worthy of holding on to.
Yeah. That's what it says in Hensing Ming again. When you wish to see the truth, hold no concepts for or against anything.
Yes. Hold no opinions, but that's
No
the
opinion.
same. That's the same.
Not the same, yeah.
Now, Amarnath, you have broken the cocoon of jail of conditioning, patterns and expressions. Just be natural.
Yes,
Right, yeah.
Yeah. That was Dale. Yeah, us in nature. And I'll see if there's more. No. For now, there is no more questions. How we are for time? We still have time. We still have time, and for now, there is no more questions or comments. There are beautiful words of love from Patricia and from John and from everyone. It's a lot of them, but thank you. And ditto. Yes, so there is no more questions for now. So if you're happy, we can just wrap it up, or if anything comes up, we're happy to hang out.
Yeah.
Have a look.
Want to say something?
Don't know. I see. Oh, okay. Sally, can you talk about the narrative self, please?
The which?
Narrative, the commentary,
Ah.
the blah blah in a head.
We'll have a look at it. Just thoughts continually arise. Once the story starts, it keeps going on and on and on. And the buts will come in, the ifs, the whens, the hows, the whys, go over and over it again. What if and why, should I or shouldn't I? Put a stop to it, just don't bother going there. And what it allows the silence and the stillness that the thoughts come from to be more. When there's less cloud in the sky, there's more clarity there.
Yeah.
So when the clouds of thought are thinned out or cease, there's much more clarity in the mind. And a mind that is empty and still can't help but be spontaneously joyous
Yeah.
and loving, compassionate, self-aware, self-knowing. All different concepts, and the labels I put on it are not either trying to describe the indescribable. Can't be described.
Yeah, this is what Tanya says. So much love and gratitude, Bob and Kat. This I or me truly is just a pattern of thoughts. And this is, I think, Sally, you know that one already, that the me is made of concepts and thoughts. And the whole identification is the identification with idea of vulnerability, sensitivity, achievements, pasts, and all of it. And that also lives only in the narrative, that only lives in that inner commentary, that voice that constantly, since early childhood, since you were learning to speak and you had to rehearse what you're going to say, this voice is accompanying us, because it's almost as, it's like a function, another function in the organism that is, the more you rehearse and practice it, the better you become. So most of the people have that narrative commenting almost all the time. Of course, when they are so-called in the zone, when they working and they're passionate about some project, or they making love, or they eat fabulous food and they are with other senses, that narrative will subside, or maybe it is still there, but nobody pays attention to it. So the one that was very helpful when Bob was pointing was that you have that 6 senses. The 5 of them, seeing, hearing, tasting, touching, smelling, are usually quite neglected, because all of the attention goes to the thinking, the sixth sense. So basically paying attention, bringing attention out, or even training attention, it is called mindfulness, to put more of itself, to recognize and notice more of what is going on in the present moment, in the seeing, hearing, tasting, touching, smelling, naturally gives less of the free attention to the thinking. So the narrative has to, it just gets less power, so it will have to subside. On the beginning, initially, it will comment on whatever is happening presently. So you're watching beautiful flowers in the garden, and the narrative says, "Ah, look at that beautiful flowers." Or you're driving, and the narrative comments on that. The best thing to go about the narrative is to see it as not personal, because the worst thing is when you think this is you, this is my inner self, this is my soul speaking, or this is my higher self, or whatever the self. No, it's not you. It's as automatic function of the body as salivating or sweating or urinating or digestion. That pattern helped the human species to create the societies of this extent, of this, the stories that they have, the concepts that they have, the use of the brain in the extent that we do enabled us to create the civilization. So there is a good side of that habit, but of course it backfires. But if you see that this is completely impersonal function, like, okay, my brain is sweating right now, that doesn't hurt you that much. Also, you don't really have to listen to the commentaries. You know how the narrative often pick up on the song and is singing, is humming in the head. That's also less painful. The worst is when the narrative is judging you, when it's commenting on how worthless you are, or how you're never gonna get it, or how, the psychological suffering that it relates to the you as if the you was real, and it is beating up that you, and there is a belief flooding into it. So not only the me is hopeless and unworthy, but also the voice that is telling me that is right. So now we have completely schizophrenic situation where the voice is me, and the one who voice is judging is also me. None of it is so. It is just a habit. Imagining there is a me that is being judged, and imagining the judge, they are all in the imagination. Nothing can trouble you but in your own imagination. So that voice, if you hear it, you're not speaking it. you're not generating it. You can't, it can't be you, because you're the one who is receiving, you're the one who is aware of it. Same as you can't be a body because you're aware of it. You are aware of that voice in your head, or voices in your head. And there are funny ways to play with that. You can change the volume of the voice, or you can change the speed with which the voice is yapping, or make that voice sound like a stupid child cartoon character. And then the voice will be less painful. And who is doing it? Of course, the same life. Life is the only doer always. But it is an interesting topic, the narrative self, to see where it comes from, what it does, how present it is in daily activities. And the more you put the light on it, the more you put this light of attention, the torchlight, like Tony is calling it, the more you see it as an object. So seeing it as an object in consciousness, how could that be you? It's a totally mechanical function. You can even see how sometimes it gets obsessive about something, and it obsesses. People who have different addictions, they would be obsessing about the food or shopping, and that voice constantly bringing up that obsessive thought. It's really easy to see through it. It's not equally easy to break the pattern. But if you recognize that this is just a mechanical, impersonal pattern, then the urge to break it drops. And when there is no investment, I have to do something about it. When you are okay with that, when you are in a place where the space is, like you are in complete acceptance, is the narrative there? Okay. There's no narrative there? Okay. Equally okay. You're totally at peace with whatever comes up. then you're already free. Whether it is yapping or it's not yapping, you're already free. And this level of understanding or level of being, when you disengage from any form of identification and rest as this non-conceptual space-like awareness, it is always there. Stop thinking and you're there. Thinking starts again, but you are still that basic screen. Thinking is coming and going, you are the screen. I see we have more... yeah, we have more. I can shut up now and read some good comments. Wow. Matthew, the ego is strong. I see it, I'm aware of it. When I try to be present, it strikes back. Why? And Julia says, if you are not the body or the mind, can you find the ego? The ego is strong. Would you like to comment on that before I read the rest?
The ego?
Yeah.
Well, is there such a thing?
Yeah, there is only a sense of
It's only the believed in conceptual image
yes.
you have about yourself.
Ego is strong. What does it even mean, ego is strong? I mean, I know what it means because I used to believe it myself.
If it's strong.
My ego used to be strong because I couldn't stand when someone disagreed with me, for example.
Yeah. But see, there's got no power.
Yeah, yeah.
There's only one power. The very life in you is that one power. The breath, the heartbeat, and all the rest is that one power. So you can't. There's no ego, there's no conceptual image that's doing anything. It's all the life essence. It's forming the thoughts, you know, as the thinker, the thinking, and the thought.
Yeah.
It's one life and doing everything, but we take delivery of it as I or mine, me or mine. And we relate it to this seeming ego, self-centre, which is, that's what it is, a self-centre or a reference point. We're referring it to this conceptual image we have about ourselves, which people tell you that you are this and that, and you reinforce it yourself, and reinforce it day in, day out for years, and it seems very solid and substantial. But when you, who does it belong to? Who's the me, which is the ego, or the my, that thinks it has this thing called an ego as well? Me. Who am I? Again, go back to that Ramana Maharshi. Who am I? I is the question and the question. A thought, which is all the I is a thought, a concept. Without a thought, what can you say? You got it in the mirror, look at the image in the mirror. You can't say it's not there. It looks pretty real. Go up and try and grab the image out of the mirror. All you'll do is grab the mirror. You can't say it is there or isn't there.
That's right.
You can't say that. That's the same applies to anything. The good, the bad, the pleasant, the painful, the happy, the sad. It seems to be there, but when you investigate it, it's not there.
Yeah. Yeah, actually Amarnath has answered that. Ego is non-existent. How it can be strong? Our non-investigation is the cause.
Yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful. And Mukti says, love, love. Thank you so much, Kat and Bob. Grateful to sit with everyone here. Thank you, Mukti.
Yes, Mukti.
How do you stop the narrative? Dale is asking. Who wants to stop it? Why would you want to stop it? That's the... I know it can be a nuisance when it is very...
Well, it'd be the narrative trying to stop the narrative.
Yes.
Thought trying to stop thought. It won't happen.
Yeah, it can be a nuisance when there is really obsessive pattern. People get mental health assistance for this, and there are different techniques to break those patterns. But the easy one that Bob is saying, try to distribute attention between seeing, hearing, tasting, touching, smelling equally. There will be nothing left for the narrative. If you even do a little simple thing like you go out and you listen to 3 different birds in a different location in space, and just hold the attention with each and every one of it. or add the traffic to it. You don't even have to go to seeing and smelling and all of it. Just occupy your attention with things that are presently there, to the extent that there is nothing left for narrative, and that will blow your mind.
Yeah. Well, have a look at it. You know, the narrative is the thinking.
Yes.
I think, and we relate the I think to a thinker. The ego. There's no thinker. There's no one to stop the narrative.
Yeah.
It's the same as you're breathing right now. You think, is there an ego or a person doing the breathing, or is breathing happening? Now, so the I cannot stop the breathing.
Yeah.
But yet you can pause the thought. You know, innately. Not that you are doing it, but as I said, it happens.
It's happening, yeah.
So when the narrative's going on, there's no one that can stop it. But recognise it, like, hold your breath.
Yes.
Or, you know, spontaneously hold your breath. When they see the narrative's going on, don't go there. Full stop.
We have beautiful answer from Bill. I didn't read it yet fully, but I see. If you give your attention 100% to the stillness of silent being, the mind content slips away, and the self-shining nature of awareness is self-evident. Nothing to claim and no one to claim anything. This is available to everyone because it is not a condition. It is the actuality of ever-fresh and new awareness itself. Beautifully said.
Ever fresh and new, it's constantly arising, yeah, good.
Yeah. Yeah, if the attention can be put back on that inevitability and undeniability of being. Usually thoughts may still show up, but just ignore them, and then, yeah, that's undistracted non-meditation. Amarnath, thanks for our sixth sense of thinking, identifying with ego. Yeah, it's not a bad option. It just backfires. It's two-ended stick. Thinking, creativity, and wonderful inventions and entertaining stories on one side, and then poor me, petty little me on the other. So Amarnath also says how to stop narrative. Who wants to stop? Narrative without narrator, it stops by itself.
Yeah.
Yeah, if the attention doesn't go there, it soon goes out of sight. It's like if you don't look at something, out of eyes, out of sight, out of mind, they say it. So yeah, the same way narrative, if there is no investment in it, it doesn't matter. That's another bill. Thank you guys, thank you. And there is Jessie about the ego being strong. All of this appears, a sense of self seems to be the most natural thing in the world. It is merely universal. It is nearly universal. Universal amongst humans. The truth is the truth is that ego or self is just a thought. It is not something of substance, not real. Keep looking at it, looking for it. It is unfindable. That is so true. Yeah, ego is unfindable.
Thanks, Jessie.
Thanks. Yes, just thoughts. Thanks, Kat, for your play of mind game phenomenon of thinking in the head. Yeah, you have Otlin from Tasmania. Hope you are keeping warm. You're cooler than that as in Tasmania. Yeah, it's quite cool today. We had hail yesterday. It was cool too. We keep each other warm, and we have cats to keep us warm too. And thanks, Bob, for your delivery without the delivery man, ego mind. Thank you. And now, John replying to Tanya on how do you see that you are not the body once. So John is saying, Tanya, the body is attached to a you that is its label as the body. Unlabeled is like any other body. The energy that creates your experience can become an endless falling onto itself, which is not afraid of losing identifications. Yeah, beautiful. That's true. When you don't say it's my body, it's just a body. When you don't say it's a body, it's just an experience of buzzing life. It's always the labels. The first generation label would be just the body, and then it's my, and then of course it becomes important. Tanya says, thank you, John. And thank you, Bob and Kat and everyone. I think we are hitting the time because the thank you messages are coming, flowing.
Yeah,
Beautiful pointers to the immediacy as always, Rohan, and thank you for your input too.
well, that's it, is it?
Yes.
Thank you, everyone. A beautiful input. It's good to see that it's just spontaneously flowing out of each and every one.
It is, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and all those different
Getting clearer
aspects.
all the time. So it's working.
It's working.
Leave it as it is, and it'll continue to do so.
I'll just make sure there's nothing else on this one, but
Love you all.
I'll have a look here. What a treat, says Jessie. Thank you. Yes, they are all thank you messages from everyone. From Tanya, Sally, Rohan, Judith, Julia, Amarnath, Jessie, Dale. And yes, thank you everyone, and have a wonderful Sunday or Saturday for America.
Thank
and
you.
Belinda.
Love
and
you.
Jane. Yes. Love you everyone.